Should I start?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the second session of the online national workshop on entrepreneurship in forensic sciences, opportunities and challenges, organized by the Innovation, Incubation and the Entrepreneurship Cell associated with Department of Forensic Science, Government Institute of Forensic Science, Aurangabad. Our event partners are IQAC, GIPSA, GIPSA Craft, SIFS India, and Paresh Chitnis Academy. I am Kedar Sabkar. I am so pleased to be with you with today. We have with us Mr. Chitnis as a director of CPAG, a graphology expert Nashik, as a speaker for our session. Now, I would like to call my friend Miss Arya to introduce our speaker.
Thank you, Keda. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship Cell and Government Institute of Forensic Science, Aurangabad, I extend a very warm welcome to our guest, Mr. Paresh P. Chitnis, sir, Forensic Document Examiner and Graphologist. Mr. Paresh Chitnis is the founder, director of the company CPAG Graphology Experts, registered with government for working in graphology and forensics. Sir has more than 12 years of experience in the domain of forensic document examination. Sir also worked for several corporate companies including Forbes, Marshall, Cipla, Camlin Pharma and Liva Pharma. In education front, Mr. Chitnis has completed MSc Physical Chemistry and MBA in HR from University of Pune and PG Diploma in Forensic Science and Related Laws from Government Institute of Forensic Science, Aurangabad. Apart from this, Paresh sir is a certified hypnotist. He has studied REBT and transactional analysis and got certification in entrepreneurship development from IIM Kolkata. Sir has conducted several training programs for banks, corporates, teachers, parents, and students. He has been a trainer at the Indian Army at Devlali as well. His weekly articles on graphology appear in Lokmat Times, and many of his programs have been organized by Navbharat, Navrashtra, Sakal Papers and Lokmat Papers, and it is also sponsored by many other companies. His work in scientific writing has been appreciated by a certificate by Padma Shri Dr. Vijay Bhatkar. Mr. Paresh can take pride of the fact that he has trained about 20,000 students all over the world. As far as document examination is concerned, Mr. Chitnis has given expert opinion reports and appeared in district courts, Aurangabad High Court and Mumbai High Court as a forensic document examiner. He has submitted reports for many internal corporate investigations, and he has also been called upon by the Honorable Judge of Nashik District Court on various occasions to provide his expert opinion. His major clients include Bajaj Finance, HDFC, Swarovski, Bosch Limited, etc. There are several awards in his credit. To name a few, Sir is an awardee of Young Achiever Award, Pillars of India by Navbharat Times, Mumbai 2018, Tejas Puraskar for Self-Sustained Business, Deshdoot, Nasik in 2020, and Sir won Second Best Presentation Award on Security Features of Bank Checks at National Conference on Forensics 2016. Now, may I request the Honorable Speaker to address the attendees on the topic Entrepreneurship versus Jobs in Forensics. Before that, I would like to make a note that in case of any queries or doubts, attendees can post it in the YouTube comment section and they will be directly answered by Sir. Once again, welcome Sir. Over to you, Sir.
Thank you, Arya, for the introduction. Thank you, Kedar.
The technical team make Mr. Chitnis as co-host so that he can share his presentation.
Yeah, is the presentation visible to you?
Yes, it is visible.
Yes.
So, good afternoon, all the viewers, and thank you for inviting me as a speaker, all the organizers, the organizing committee. I'll be speaking a bit about comparing employment and entrepreneurship before we delve into entrepreneurship or employment in forensics. So, this is always a question for anyone who's making a career choice. Most of us look at employment or entrepreneurship as a choice when we are completing graduation or masters, and then we think about the opportunities available, the risk involved, the efforts needed to get into an entrepreneurship, start our own business or become a professional, and we also have an option of employment. These two streams or these two different options require different skill sets. They require different kind of preparation or surveys that you need to do in the market to seek opportunities for employment and entrepreneurship. They are totally different areas of careers, and so they need to be discussed before we will be able to make a decision what we want to get into. Now, I'm not professing one of these to you. You have to make a choice whether employment is good for you or entrepreneurship is good for you, being a professional is good for you, or starting your business for yourself is good for you. So it's a choice that everyone has to make. If you don't make this choice for yourself, if you go by somebody else's choice, maybe you will remain confused for a long time in your career, and maybe you will face mid-career crisis at the age of 40, 45, and you are not sure whether you are doing what you wanted to do in life. So let us understand what we are going to discuss today. um, let's see some options, looking at options about what we can do in our careers, maybe after our graduation, post graduation in forensics, or in general when you are thinking of taking up jobs. Not necessarily that all of you students who are completing your forensics studies would get into forensics, but then you might be looking at these options, like whether you should go for employment or you should be self-employed. So we'll consider these options that are available to each of us at any stage of career. Then let us understand the concept of entrepreneurship. What does entrepreneurship exactly mean? uh, let us then discuss about the forensics market scenario. What is the market? Now I'm calling this as a market because that's how it is considered. We'll be discussing that. Let us look at some opportunities which are available today. What kind of opportunities in forensics and investigations are available? If time permits, I'll be discussing some interesting experience that I have had during my past few years of practice as a professional in forensic document examination. So that's how I intend to go through these topics today. There might be a little deviation during discussion. I've just prepared some slides because we have a guideline for the discussion. Most of the part would not be in the PowerPoint. It would just be a discussion at the end. So let us first understand what's the difference between being an employee and a self-employed professional. So there are two options. Once you complete your graduation, post graduation, your studies is completed, and now you are good to go to start earning, because your parents want you to be self-sustained. You are of the age where you want freedom, independence, and want to make your own choices in life. So you need a source of income. You want maybe you want self-satisfaction by implementing the skills that you have acquired by your studies, by the means of your studies. So you want to get into a job, you want to start some business, you want to become a professional, start practicing something and earn money for yourself. Okay, and maybe you have a vision that you want to contribute something to the society, you want to contribute in your field in some way or the other. So you are looking for an employment, or maybe you are looking for self-employment. So for that purpose you might be looking for employment or self-employment. So what is the difference between being an employee? How is life for an employed person, and how is life for a self-employed person? So let us look at that first. Okay, nowhere we are emphasizing on being one of that. I'll be coming to that later. So how life looks when you have a job. So when you have a job, you have a salary even if the company does not make profits. Okay, so that's what we call as a job security. Okay, you have a secure job, you have a paycheck coming at the end of the month. uh, Even if the company is in losses, you have put in your time and efforts, you will get returns for that. Okay, so a job assures you a paycheck at the end of the month, that's it. Okay, as simple as that. So the best security, secured career is a job where as long as you have a job, you get a salary assured. Self-employment, on the other hand, is where you take home money when you make profits. Okay, many times there is cash flow, but there are no profits. So for a self-employed person, if the expenses are more than the income, then the person is automatically in debt. Or if the expenses are just equal to income, then the person doesn't take anything home. Okay, there can be a lot of cash flow, but there may not be necessarily any revenue generated for the person who is self-employed. So self-employment has this lacks this security of salary. It has this lack of security. But if things go well, if you have good profits, you take good money home. Okay, so being self-employed has that risk of not being able to have a assurance of money at the end of the month. You will have to make arrangements for that. But when you make good profits, you get good money when you are self-employed. In a job, you have a boss who tells you what to do. So this is good in a way and bad in a way too. So why it is good in a job? Because you don't have to think what to do today. Okay, your boss is going to tell you what to do. And the best part is, if your boss forgets to tell you what to do today, you have nothing to do and you still are going to get a salary. Okay, so having a job, you get a boss with it, so it is part and parcel. A job means you have a boss who's going to guide you. You have a leadership on top of you who's going to tell you what you are supposed to do, and you have to achieve those targets, or you have to follow those instructions. So life becomes easier, you know what you are supposed to do. Okay, the bad thing about it is sometimes the boss tells you to do some things that you don't like doing, but you still have to do that. So that's a part and parcel of a job. So being employed, you work under somebody, you work for somebody. On the other hand, when you are self-employed, there's no boss to tell you what to do. So that's the good thing, you are your own boss. That's why many people shift from an employment to self-employment, and they land in a big problem then, because they just came out of the job because they didn't want any boss sitting on their head. But that's the wrong reason to be self-employed. Okay, if you hate having a boss and that's the reason why you got self-employed, it's a problem for you, because you have landed in a problem. Now there's nobody to tell you what to do. Okay, now when you are in a problem, there's no boss to tell you what you are supposed to do, and maybe you keep doing the wrong things and then you don't get paid for that. Whereas that doesn't happen in a job. So self-employment, the good thing is that nobody dictates you. You are not forced to do something against your wishes. You are your own boss, but there is nobody to tell you anything. So there is a risk also. So when you are lost, when you are unable to take decisions, you don't have a boss to tell you what you are supposed to do. Okay. Now when you are employed in an organization, sometimes you might have too much of workload, sometimes you might not have too much of workload. You might have heard your parents speaking or people speaking that it's a year ending, there are audits and there's a lot of workload is increasing nowadays. You hear those kind of things, these people having jobs speaking. So when you have when you have too much of workload, the salary remains the same, but you have more work. Okay, for some people there are incentives for working more, but those are not the kind of intellectual jobs. Those can be sales jobs, those can be showroom sales jobs, those can be marketing jobs, or physical jobs where you do more work, you get some incentives for that. Okay, but most of the times when there is workload, you are expected to do extra work without getting extra salary. So more work doesn't mean more money for a job. Many times you have to wait for an increment or a promotion, so that when you get more work you get more salary, but then you get still more work when you are promoted, and you still get keep having that feeling that you are working more and getting less. Obviously that is going to happen. We are going to discuss that further. In self-employment, that doesn't happen. When you do more work you get more money, but the flip side is if you do less work you get less money. Okay, so it's not like you get assured monthly income when you are self-employed. If you want to earn more money this month, you will have to do more work. Okay, so it's like if you want a bonus on Diwali, you'll have to work more, and if you work more you'll get more money if you are self-employed. Okay, so that's how it goes for a self-employed person. That is the benefit that the self-employed person has, that the extra work gets paid for a self-employed person. It might not always be so for a job owner. An employed person always has a job security, but then in uncertain times there are always some job uncertainties also. As long as you have a job, you have a salary assured, but if you lose the job, then there is a high risk. You need to be employable. Okay, so being employed and being employable are two different things. You might have seen a lot of police constables who don't look healthy at all. They have a tummy, they are not at all healthy, they are not at all fit. So they are employed, but they are not employable. If they are to go through an examination or the qualification rounds again, they might not qualify, but now they are employed. So being employed and being employable are two different things, and when there is uncertainty of jobs, you always need to be employable. You have to keep updated, you have to have those skill sets and attitude and knowledge that will generate or that will allow you to have a new job. So due to the job uncertainty, you have to be employable. If there is job security, you don't worry about employability. The scenario in government sector is changing now. Earlier it used to be said that government jobs are very secure, you don't need to update yourself, you never need to be on your toes to secure keep your job secured. But nowadays it's not so. Even in the government sector, if you are not updated, if you are not employable, if you are not up to the mark, you might not be able to continue your job. So the scenario is changing even in the public sector as in the private sector. For a self-employed person, there is always an uncertainty of where will the next check come from, who would be my next customer, who would be my next client, who will give me the next business. Okay, so I have 10 cases on which I am working. I don't know from where the 11th case is going to come from. So I am responsible for generating work for myself also when I am self-employed. But when I am in a job, I don't have to worry about generating work for myself. Somebody has to serve me with work, I just have to deliver that work. So that's a difference. When you are self-employed, you need to ensure that you have work and then you have to deliver that work too. So when you are making a choice of whether you want to be employed or self-employed, you have to consider these things. For an employee, there's a definite career path that you can see. For an entrepreneur or a professional or a business owner, the career path will not be clear. It is very uncertain. it can be very glorious. It can be the person can be a billionaire, a millionaire, or maybe the person can be bankrupt also. So in an employment, as long as you are doing all the things right, you have a definite career path. uh, Nowhere is being employed less attractive than having a self-employment or having a business, because you might have seen some employees who are much better off than any entrepreneur. So if you know this person, she is Indra Nui, and she is the CEO of PepsiCo. And being in her position is desirable for everyone. Like, everybody would want to be an employee if it is that high position. Okay, so there are some high paying jobs. You can work with big brands, you have a lot of privileges, you have a social status when you are employed, especially when you are at a higher position, or you are working with the government, which is more so for the forensic students. When you aspire for working in the government sector, you have a lot of social status and the privileges which you don't have as a self-employed person. uh, any big entrepreneur, a business owner, would not be comparable to the position of a CEO of a big brand like PepsiCo. Okay, so you get to sit next to uh, the biggest people, the most influential people. Now I would like to compare these two pictures. One of them is the owner of the business, and the other is the employee of the company. Okay, so Indra Nui is a CEO. She's an executive. She is a employee of PepsiCo, whereas Mark Zuckerberg is the owner of Facebook. But you see that they are equally influential when it comes to decision making. So these are bigger examples, but when you see people like government officers, people working with government sector, people working with as general managers of some companies anywhere, they are more influential. They are more influential than any small business owner. Okay, so there are hundreds of vendors who are business owners who have to interact with the executives of a company, and the executive is considered in a higher position. The purchase officer, or the administration officer, or the general manager of a company is considered at a higher position than the vendor who actually is the owner of a business many times in the situation. Okay, so there are some positions, not, of course, not all the employees would enjoy this position, but in every organization there would be some positions which are much better than being a self-employed person. Let's take another example. Now you know Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google. So he again has a high paying job working with the biggest organization, Google, the Fortune 500 organizations. uh, Enjoys all the privileges, has a different social status. Starting a big IT company in India and being a CEO of Google is considered almost the same. Like, when we are looking at news, you'll see one news by where you see maybe you see Azim Premji, maybe you see Narayan Murthy ji, and in the other news you see Sundar Pichai speaking. So you see people of Indian origin in the news, and they although one of them is a business owner and entrepreneur and the other is an employee, they enjoy the same kind of status and the privilege. Okay, so they are involved in the decision making, they are involved in strategy making, policy making. They are considered as influential people even if they are employees. So there are some employments which are more attractive than being a job owner, or being a self-employed person or a business owner. So just compare these two pictures. You cannot see the people from close, but what you see is one of them is the founder of Apple and one of them is a CEO of Google. So Sundar Pichai is standing there representing Google, is an employee, whereas uh, when you see Steve Jobs launching his mobile phones, his iPhones, he is the owner, or maybe he is the founder of Apple. But they both are looked upon as same when it comes to social status, when it comes to decision making, when it comes to privileges. So they are considered as the same because they are the face of the organization. So certainly some employments are much better than being a business owner. What you need to understand when you are looking at employment is you get a salary because you earn for the company much more than you get paid for. Okay, so when you get 1 rupee as a salary, you need to earn 100 rupees for the company. Only then you are useful for the organization. So a meaningful employment is where when we say meaningful employment, whenever we say that this is a term that is used in the corporate, meaningfully employed. So meaningfully employed means you are actually contributing to the bottom line of the company. You are earning some revenue for the company. The work that you are doing is contributing to generate revenue for the organization, and a small part is shared with you as a salary. So when you earn a big salary, we hear those big packages these employees are withdrawing. Those are in millions and billions sometimes. Those salaries are because they work in such a way that their contribution for the organization is hundred folds and thousand folds that they are withdrawing as a salary. So the salary drawn is comparatively very less than what they are earning for the organization. Now when many times employees realize that they are doing a lot of work for which the organization is actually not doing anything, and it's completely dependent on his or her skills for generating that revenue, then the person thinks that I might as well do this work for myself. So whenever the whole business is dependent on the technician or the expert that is working for the organization, the expert might think that instead of working for 10 clients, I might as well work for 2 clients and get paid much more than that what I am earning as a salary. So this is a decision that many times employees take when they have a mid-career decision making, that they are earning very less as compared to what the company is earning or they are generating for the organization. At that time, people feel that if there is an opportunity, if it is possible, they would start up their own business and start serving similar clients. Or maybe most of the times what happens is these employees start serving the clients of their parent company itself. So that is how a lot of companies have formed, like employees getting out of a company and starting their own venture. So like we know that Bansals came out of the Amazon and started Flipkart, then they sold that Flipkart, and this all started from employees converting to self-employed and starting their own business and converting it into a big venture, getting investments for that, and getting out of that business by selling off that business. So you earn a small fraction of what you generate for your organization when you are an employee. Now when you are self-employed, it means that you you are owner of the job, you own that job. Okay, that's the only difference being employee and self-employed. First, the job was given to you by somebody with a salary. Now you own the job, so you are your boss and you have to pay yourself, and if you don't have anything to pay yourself, you go without a salary. So that's the difference between being employed and self-employed. When you are self-employed, now what do you mean by self-employed? What are some examples of being self-employed? Like a doctor, a practicing doctor is a self-employed person who has a clinic, who sits at a clinic and people come to the doctor, visit the doctor. Or a dentist is a very nice example of being self-employed. He has a one chair setup. Most of the dentists you might have visited are a one seat clinic where you have one chair where or at the most two chairs where a single doctor is working in the whole setup. So that is self-employment. You are by yourself. So that is kind of self-employment. Or maybe an advocate who is working by himself is self-employed. Or maybe a person who has his own workshop for something, like a workshop where the person manufactures something by himself. He is the only person working there, so that is self-employment. Or an artist who paints or makes some artistic material which he keeps for sale, is a self-employed person. A forensic document examiner who's working by self, who has no employees under him or her, is a self-employed person. A teacher who is conducting tuitions at home, or conducting tuitions even on larger scale, like having 50 or 100 students, but he's the only teacher there, so he's also self-employed. So self-employment means you own your job, you are your own boss, and you have to pay for your own salary, and you have to arrange for your expenses. So in a job, you can tell the company that, okay, if you want me to go to a site or visit the client, you'll have to pay for the visit. Okay, even if I am going to a prospect to look for a business, the prospect might give us business or might not give us business, but you will have to pay for my travels and my stay and my food and all. So you have that TADA, traveling allowance, dining allowance, stay allowance, all those things. So those are in the job. And when you are employed, you can fly with a business class seat. But when you are self-employed, when you pay for your own travels, you go with the economy class flight. Why? Because you have to pay from your pocket. So that's a big difference between employment and self-employment. You have to first spend from your pocket so that you can earn afterwards. So in the employment part, you just have to work and get paid for that. You work and get paid, work and get paid. Whereas in self-employment, you have to spend, work, and then get paid. Okay, so many times you just spend, and you don't get an opportunity to work also. And sometimes it is like you spend, then you work, but you don't get paid, because you have spent much more than what you got paid for. Okay, so that's a difference between employment and self-employment. You have to arrange for the expenses. If you cannot spend, you cannot earn many times. Okay, the benefit of being self-employed is when you have good work at hand. Like if you are working in some company and you are handling 2 clients or 3 clients, or you are working on 4 projects, you get a salary. If you work on 5 projects, you get the same salary. But when you are self-employed and you get that additional project, or you get a bigger project, maybe you earn more. Sometimes you work the same, but the different type of client, a premium client, would pay you much more than what a ordinary client would pay you. So sometimes even for the same work, you get more money. Okay, so it depends on how much the client is paying you, what is the perceived value of the work that you have. Sometimes the perceived value of the work that you are doing is much more than what is considered by others, so you get more earning there. Self-employed people work for self and pay themselves. So that's a benefit, an advantage and a disadvantage too. When the business starts growing well, it's a big advantage that you work for yourself and you pay yourself, so you have all the freedom. You can choose your client, you can choose your partners, you can choose your team. Whereas in a job, it's not so. You cannot select your team members, you cannot select your colleagues. You are forced to work with people who are employed by the employer. The colleagues are not employed by you. Whereas in self-employment, if you want to have a team, or you want to have an association, like you have an association of say advocates 5 advocates coming together and working as association. You have association of 3 or 4 chartered accountants coming together and working. So you can make those alliances according to your compatibility. So you work for yourself according to your terms. You can work at night, you can work at day, you can work on Sundays, you can take a vacation for 10 days, you can work on Mondays, you may not work on Mondays, it's all up to you. But at the end, whatever you earn, you pay everyone and then you pay yourself. Now this is very important to understand that self-employment is not business. When we say I have my own business and I am the only person working, it's not a business, it's a profession. So when I say that I'm a forensic document examiner, it's a profession, I'm not doing a business. So this clarity we need to have. A business is different from being self-employed. Self-employment is just that whatever you would have been doing as an employee, you're doing it as being the owner of that job. You are self-employed, you are doing the same things. Only thing is you are not affiliated to any organization. So that's a profession, it's not a business. So let us understand what a business is and how a business works. How is it different from being self-employed? Okay, so most of the businesses fail due to lack of funding, bad business decisions, government policies, and or maybe an economic crisis, or things like a pandemic. Sometimes a lack of market demand, or a combination of all these things. So these are all the things that contribute to the failure of a business. But what a business actually is, so and what businesses require. So business is where you employ people and you have a structure and a system where you don't work too much, but the system works for you and the system generates money for you. Okay, a self-employed person is still employed. Okay, please understand the difference between business and self-employment. A self-employed person is still employed by himself or herself and working for self. Okay, it's as good as working for some organization. So a self-employed person is not doing a business. You're doing a business when people are working for you. Okay, so now you become the employer. You have a system in place where there is a system of recruiting people, where there is a system where some work will come, it will get operated, it will get delivered, and you will generate revenues. You will expand, you will have more revenues, you will have more avenues of generating revenue. So that is a business where money gets generated in your absence. Okay, so it's generally said that if you take a vacation for 1 year from your business and you come back from the business from your vacation and see that your business has grown, then it is actually a business. But if you are not working, even if for a day, and your business stops, then that is self-employment, because everything is there because of you. So self-employment and business is a different story. Okay, so people shift from employment to self-employment, and then they shift from self-employment to business, where they generate employment. Okay, doing a business is generating employment, generating revenue without actively working. So you don't actually do the work, you get the work done and you get paid more than what you get paid for actually doing the work. So the active work is not done in a business. So entrepreneurship falls somewhere here. Okay, so starting a venture of a business which solves some problem and delivers some value is entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is not being self-employed. Okay, just being self-employed is not entrepreneurship. You are just feeding yourself. That is not entrepreneurship. When you are solving a problem and delivering some value to the society and you are generating employment for people, that may be considered as entrepreneurship. Okay, and in entrepreneurship or in a business, there is a high risk of failure. So when we talk about business, it involves too much of risk and too much of chances of failures, and that's why before speaking about or defining business, I have spoken more about why businesses fail, because that's the difference. The difference between a business and self-employment is self-employment is more about your hard skills and soft skills. whereas business is more about being able to work as a leader and generating possibility of earning money for more than yourself, for people around you, and delivering some value to people. So you need cash. Now this cash is not the hard cash, the money, the rokda, the currency that we talk about. This is cash, cash. So what is this cash that you need? So whether you are employed, whether you are self-employed, or you are into a business, or you are an investor in any business, you need some kind of cash. This cash is knowledge about something, the right attitude required, the skills that you need to acquire, and the habits you need to have. So there is a different cash set required for being employed, and there's a different cash set required for self-employment, and there is altogether a different cash set required for starting a venture, an entrepreneurship, or starting your own startup or a business. So these cash sets are different for different quadrants that we are going to speak of. And let's look at what kind of knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits you require to have a job. So if you're doing a job, you have to have a very high IQ. You have to have good hard skills. Now what are the hard skills? Hard skills is something that you are learning now in your graduation and post graduation. So you if you are going to be a lab technician or a lab supervisor, or you are going to be heading a quality control department or a R&D department, you need to have all the hard skills. Hard skills is like maybe you are learning to run an instrument, maybe you are learning some skills like doing some titration or doing some investigation, lab testing, running some software. All these are hard skills. You need to know the tools and techniques required for that job. Okay, and you need to stay updated. Now staying updated is not always required for employment, but it is required for employability. As I mentioned to you, there's a difference between being employed and being employable. There are a lot of people who are employed but not at all employable anymore. Okay, at a given point they were employed because they had good employability. They were qualifying lot of requirements for that job. Like they knew some kind of software that was in use at that time, but now the softwares have changed and they have not acquired the new skills. They are no more employable. But since they already have a employment, they are not removed from that employment. So once you have secured a job, you are employed. But if you want to have a new job, if you lose your job and you are seeking for a new job, you need to be employable, and so you need to stay updated. So nowadays, even in the government sector, employability is gaining a lot of importance. There is continuous appraisal system that is being implemented, and so staying updated is also important. You need to work in teams, and you cannot select your team members, and that's why the kind of skill that you need to have, the soft skill that you need to have, or the habits that you need to have are related to the teamwork. Compliance is very important when you are in a job, like compliance about the rules and regulations, the timely submission of reports and all these things, appearing at the right time, being disciplined, are all things required in a job. You have to have these things, or else you are not suitable for a job. Okay, and these are not very easy things to have. Many people don't have these things, and so they are not even employable. When we are talking about self-employment, what are the skills that you require? Now with the hard skills, you also require a lot of soft skills. Okay, you need apart from the skills that you need, the cash set that you need for employment, for self-employment, you need to have a lot of humility. It's said that you have to have ice on your head and sugar on your tongue. it sounds much sweeter when we say this in Hindi, but that's how it is. You have to have ice on your head and sugar on your tongue. Only then you can be in self-employment, because although you own your job, the worst thing is you cannot even fire yourself. Okay, so in a job you can be fired. In a self-employment, you have no other option. You have the only employee who's yourself, so you cannot be even fired. So you are your own boss and you are your own employee. So you have to have the cool, because you have to assure that you keep getting business from your clients, and so your head needs to be cool. You have to be very humble. You have to have a lot of emotional intelligence, because you need to understand your own emotions, be able to regulate your own emotions, and you should also be able to understand emotions of others. Okay, in a employment, this part, if it is less, it is okay, but intellectual quotient has to be high in employment, whereas you may have a little less intellectual quotient, but you have to have a high emotional quotient. Okay. And when it comes to business, when you are hiring people, when you are generating a system, you are creating a system of finances, systems of operations, systems of people, systems of marketing. You have to have some skills which are not required sometimes for self-employment and employment. And the most important thing is leadership and vision, which you need to have. You need to lead a team. You need to identify people who can work for you. You need to take hard decisions in your business. You have to have a vision that others don't have. Business is different from self-employment and employment, is because in business you work, and then you get paid. Okay, so you work earlier, and then you keep getting paid without working later on. Okay, so you need to work maybe 100 times more than the employees to set up a business. But when we say that set up a business, once the business is set, then you don't need to work much. But to set the business, you need to work 1,000 times more than an employee, 100 times more than a self-employed person. And the first part of the business, you have to slog like a donkey, and then you earn much more than what you have worked for. So getting into business pays you for a longer time passively. You don't need to keep on working. You don't need, what you see here in the list is, you don't see the hard skills here. You don't need to know the hard skills. Okay, so to own a business, you don't need to know how to do the core service or the manufacturing of the product that you are doing. So like if you are owning a hotel, you don't or you are owning a bakery, you don't need to know how to bake. Okay, so if you are into a business of confectionery and baking, you don't need to know how to bake. You should be able to hire people who can bake the best. Okay, so business skill sets and the cash set is totally different. That is, you need to have the leadership quality, you need to have a vision, you have to have very high EQ, and this comes into picture that you need to have financial literacy. Financial literacy is very necessary. It's not like only your pocket is involved, जो भी आ रहा है वो मेरा ही पैसा है. It's not like that. It's not a proprietary business. It is a separate entity than you. You need to be financially aware. Many times it so happens that there is a lot of flow of money, but the company is in losses. People feel that in their businesses they have big assets, but they are actually having a lot of liabilities. So financial literacy is very required. Okay, a small decision like should I buy my office or rent my office, you need to have a financial literacy. Okay, so do you want to fix up your capitals in a office, or you need to spend that money for as a working capital, invest it in marketing, invest it for employing the best people, and be in a rented place for some years. That's a business decision that you need to take. You need a lot of financial literacy for getting into a business. Managerial skills, management skills are required to some extent. You can hire the best managers, but you still need to have the management skills. Okay, you yourself need to have a lot of management skills, and it goes without saying that you need a lot of discipline and you need a lot of energy to set up a business. Setting up a business is very difficult task, and that's the reason why most of the businesses fail. Most of the businesses which are done in partnership fail because a few friends come together and start a business, but the business goes well until they are not earning anything. The moment they start earning a fortune, there are differences, there are fights over finances and ownership of the business and the shares that they would have. So legal agreements and legalities and financial aspects need to be known for people to get into a partnership and into a business. Unless you are financially literate, you are not recommended to get into a business or starting a startup or getting into entrepreneurship. Now I think I would come to the forensic market. What are the opportunities we have right now? Having discussed so much about employment and employability and self-employment and businesses, what is the market available? The most attractive thing in forensics is a government job, because you have a lot of power when you are in a job in forensics, because you cannot do much when you don't have a job in forensics. You don't get in the first place, you won't get many cases. Most of the cases would go to the government labs, and most of the cases are directed to the government labs. And that's why forensics, the opportunities are mostly seen by students in government jobs. Everybody would aspire to get into a government job. But you can also see that there's a lot of scope for self-employed people, like how I started my career. Actually, even before doing my PG diploma in forensics from Government Institute of Forensic Science, Aurangabad, I was practicing as a forensic document examiner. But when we started having these courses later, these courses were there, the PG diploma courses started, so I took up this course. Before that, and even now, what you see, or even if you just open any textbook of forensics, you will see that the authors are from the core sciences. Like they would be PhD in physics, PhD in chemistry, masters in physics and chemistry. So that was the qualification earlier sufficient to work as a forensics examiner earlier. But then now, when you have these full-time courses like graduation and post-graduation in forensics and laws, you have PG diploma courses and you have certificate courses, you need to be qualified to be working as a forensic professional. Of course, for employment, you have to have the necessary qualifications, because for most of the government jobs, what you need is the basic qualifications are masters in basic sciences or masters in forensics. So if you have those qualifications, you are eligible for these job opportunities. And I won't speak a lot about this, because this is the topic that is discussed in every college. The moment you join a forensics graduation or a post-graduation course, you start talking about and you start gathering information about job opportunities in the government. So I won't spend much time on that, you already know this. Let us look at the scenario, and let us look at the opportunities for self-employment. In forensics market. So I would restrict myself initially about forensic document examination, the area in which I work, but my company also provides solutions for cyber forensics, and we also get into investigations for internet frauds and forgeries, internet crimes. cyber crimes. So we do forensics in that also. We are also registered for doing financial forensics. I am not an expert in that. My area is forensic document examination. So basically, if you look at the evidence act, you will see that it's not very clear as in other countries. It doesn't mention the qualification and of an expert. So who qualifies as an expert to give a opinion in the court of law as an expert on any subject matter. So the definitions are not very precise. Although the courses available, the qualifications available in the academia are very clear, the act doesn't mention it very clearly. So it allows people who have a good experience in the field, have can demonstrate an experience and expertise in the field to appear in the court as an expert. But nowadays, since we have courses available, the court will also not entertain anyone as an expert in forensics if you don't have the relevant qualification, at least a certificate course or at least a PG diploma or something like that with a good graduation and a post graduation background is required. So when you are practicing as a self-employed person, you have to have the qualifications and the work experience. There's I would say there's lot of opportunity even for self-employed people, because not all cases and not all investigations go to the government. Like for example, if there is a forgery done in a bank, and if the branch manager suspects that one of the employees may be involved in the forgery, they would not directly go to the government lab, they would not go to the police department. They need internal investigation. Every nationalized bank, every private bank has its own investigation unit, and they have their own fraud prevention units. They call it as FPUs. So they have their own fraud prevention units, and the people working in the fraud prevention units are always looking for something wrong happening in the company. They are keeping a watch on any possible frauds happening in the company organization, because the organizations are too big to handle, and there can be frauds happening somewhere and the organization not aware of it. The frauds can be small or big, but they have an impact on the image of the organization. The brand is very important, and that's why they need forensic examiners. Forensic accounting has a lot of scope. Cyber forensic experts have a lot of scope in private investigation. Forensic document examination, if I have to speak in detail, have a lot of scope in organizations where documents are very important. So I work with some organizations like the DHFL. DHFL is into giving providing finance to people for businesses or for buying lands and all. So when these companies are providing loans against properties, or they are buying and selling properties, they need to verify signatures, they need to verify the documents. Many times the stamp papers are forged, many times the franking is forged, many times the signatures are forged. Many times the old documents are in such a condition that you cannot verify the authenticity. Many times you have two documents coming from two different sources claiming to be the actual original document. So there are a lot of investigations which need to be done, and every time the organizations don't go to the government agencies like the government labs to verify it. They need private forensic examiners to look at it and give their opinions. Now if your opinion, if you can opine on it and if it is useful for them, they would be happily paying you, and they pay you based on the value they perceive for the case, rather than the hard skills like one document a fixed amount. It's not so. It depends on what amount of money is involved in that document. So for example, if you have a property document which is worth some crores, okay, so the stakes are higher, and you might get paid much more than what you would get paid to do the same investigation as an employee. So when you are working in an organization as an employee, it is just an assignment to verify a signature based on some accepted documents, and you just get the same salary. You don't get paid more for that. But when you are working on a sensitive case, a high profile case, you get paid much more than what you would get paid to do the same work as an employee. So there's a lot of scope for being self-employed. Now looking at the entrepreneurship aspect, if you can form an organization, like what I have done now is I have a few people who work for me on a freelance basis. They are already forensic examiners. They are already working as investigators. I have some people who are chartered accountants who are certified financial fraud accounting. They are certified in doing financial fraud accounting. They are investigators. They have the certifications from their authorities, from the institute, their chartered accountant institutes. So these people we work together as an association, and we have more opportunities when we work as an association, because the organization requires all types of services. So I also work with some detectives, and that's a very different area where investigation you have to do. You don't need to prove anything. So forensics and investigation are two different career opportunities you can have as self-employed or as entrepreneurs, where investigation, when you have some clues, you don't need to go and prove that in the court. Okay, so for investigations, you just need to find clues. Even if you get a small clue, that is sufficient. I would share an example. During the lockdown, the Nasik rural police had a case where they came to a dead end in the investigations, where they thought that one person was the culprit, and they probed on that person a lot, and at the end they came to know that that was not actually the culprit. He was innocent. He was not the actual culprit. And this process took a long time, and once they came to know that we have reached a dead end and we probed the wrong person for a long time, they realized that they have lost the track of the actual culprit now, because the evidences are no more there. There has been a lot of manipulation, and there is so much of grapevine happening that people would not even think of anybody else, because everybody started thinking that the person who was being probed is actually the culprit, the murderer actually. So there was a murder of a whole family, and they were looking for the culprit, and they were probing a wrong person, and they came at a dead end. So what we did is we took handwriting samples, and we tried to understand the personality of the person. Now this is not forensics, this is graphology, where we try to understand a person's personality and behavior and the thinking based on handwriting. So we used those tools, and we could investigate and find the person. In such areas, they call upon a private agency like us, and they hire us for the time being as a freelancer. So those kind of opportunities you get, even if you are not working with the government, you can work with the government. You get similar opportunities. Working in a government lab is like you get a lot of work to do. You get high profile cases to work on. You get to see so many documents. You get to see so many confidential things. But even like working for yourself, you get those opportunities, maybe a little less opportunities, but believe me, very sensitive opportunities, very sensitive documents you get to see. Now I have worked on a few cases which have been referred to me by the Indian Army, so I get to see some few documents sometimes which are very sensitive. we have trained some officers for doing army officers for doing handwriting analysis, because every time the Indian Army cannot hire us for doing these things. Those are very sensitive documents, so they have their own staff or their own officers who can do that. But sometimes they really need the expert opinion, so they approach us. So you get to work on sensitive cases and high profile cases sometimes, not always like what the government labs provide you as an opportunity. So the opportunities for private initially are less, but once you establish yourself, you get the best opportunities, you get to work on the best cases in the industry, in the market. Initially I used to work at the district court level. Gradually, when I established myself, I started getting cases for, and I started getting referred for high courts also. Sometimes it's interesting that when you have high profile cases, the advocates fly from Delhi to Mumbai, and there's so much of money being spent for the case, because the money involved is not always the thing. The brand, the identity, it's sometimes a prestige issue to win the case, and it becomes very high profile. You enjoy working as a self-employed person also sometimes. So that those are some opportunities that you get working independently. And comparing it with a job, you need to know that when there is a case regarding currency notes, it's always a government officer who can testify in the court. So even if I can see that a stamp paper or a currency note is fake, I cannot go as a expert to speak about it, because I am not authorized for that. So only from the government, some officials from the government, especially the currency note press people, appear in the courts. So that's a privilege that you get when you're working with the government sector. There are some areas where even if you have the domain knowledge, you cannot practice as a expert forensic document examiner in the courts, because you are not eligible there. So that's a privilege for employees in the government sector. They can opine on documents like stamp papers, or maybe those seals on the alcohol bottles, the liquor bottles and all, the hologram seals that they have. The genuineness can be confirmed only by government officers, not by private agencies. So there are pros and cons of being self-employed in forensics. You also have a lot of opportunities in fingerprinting. Nowadays technology has advanced, so there are a lot of investigations done privately, and they pay very well. So there are a lot of detectives who need these services. They get a clue, and then you don't need to prove that in the court. Okay, in investigations you don't need to prove something. Like in the case that I mentioned about the rural case of murder, you don't need to prove how you came to know about this. But once you get that clue, and when it is probed and they find that yes, this is a useful clue, then that is sufficient. Like if you get some fingerprints, and if they are a little close to one of the suspects and not very close to the other suspect, you don't need to go in the court and prove that why you feel that this person would be involved and not this person, because it's a part of the investigation. It's not an evidence that is being presented in the court, and it just gives a clue to the investigating agencies, and they move ahead probing based on those clues. And if they find something more worthwhile, those things are then presented as an evidence in the court. Many times in investigation, when you work, you give your opinions. They are not even a part of the report. They are just used as internal investigation, or a connecting link between whatever they have and what they are looking for. So that's the difference between investigation and forensics. Like when you are appearing in the court, so investigation, a small clue is also sufficient for investigators, but when you are doing forensics, you have to be very confident, and if you are not confident, you just have to say that I am unable to give an opinion on this. So many times you need to be clear that to safeguard your image and your standing in the market, if you are not sure about some case, you should not go ahead. You should back out from there. You should say that maybe I am unable to do this. And in some cases, if the provided documents and the provided material is insufficient, you should be able to strongly say that not just that I cannot opine on this. If any other expert tries to opine on this, he would not be accurate. Why? Because there is data insufficiency. So you should be able to confidently put your opinion, at the same time safeguard your image and your standing in the market. I got to learn a lot from a lot of advocates. Although we learn a lot of things in our courses, like in your graduation, post graduation, you learn a lot about forensics and law. You come to know the practical things only when you are in the industry, when you are working on cases. So a lot of advocates have helped me to understand the nitty-gritties, the way it has to be presented. I get a lot of cases from corporate, when you look at it from the entrepreneurship perspective or self-employment perspective, you can get a lot of cases from the corporates where there are anonymous letters written, which are internally circulated, and the company needs to know who has done that. So they don't go to the police. They cannot go to the police, okay, or they cannot go to a forensic lab, government forensic lab for that. So they need to hire companies, private companies like us, and they provide a lot of opportunities. We are on the panels of some companies. We are invited as experts to look into the matter wherever there are forgeries or frauds or anonymous letters. Like I have worked for companies like Bosch. I have worked for Mahindra and Mahindra. I have handled cases for Reliable Autotech. I have also handled some cases for MSRTC, that is the state transport. I have handled cases for Indian Army. I have handled a lot of cases for private companies, most of them being jewelers. I've worked for them for identifying the author of some anonymous documents or something, like comparing the writings. I have had some interesting cases like wall writings, where somebody has written something abusive about some seniors. So these are like you get to know about many things which are involved. Like when you are giving an opinion, it is going to affect somebody's job. Like in one case where we had this case where somebody had written on the walls, if I say that this writing matches or has come from this author, or this person might have written this writing on the wall looking at his or her writing, then the person is going to lose the job, and then there is whole labor union standing behind that person. So it's like you are the villain there. Okay, so there's a lot of times you need to be anonymous. You should not come in the forefront. You need to be very careful. Not like the detectives, we are not on the forefront most of the times. The documents come to your office and you investigate them. But sometimes when you need to go to the crime scene, or you need to go to take photographs of the wall writings or the graffiti done on the cars, like somebody has used some sharp object to write on the vehicles. It was a very costly vehicle, and somebody had scratched on it and written something abusive on it. So we had to go to that place because the police had put the barricades there, and it was not allowed to move from that place. So we had to go there, take the photograph. So people came to know who is investigating. So there is a threat sometimes from the union, from the laborers themselves, from individuals who come to know that you are working on the case. This happens. Sometimes there are interesting cases. Sometimes there are situations like in the High Court. Once it so happened that I had worked with an advocate once, and in the next case immediate next case, that same advocate who had referred me was cross-examining me, and that becomes a very odd situation sometimes. So you have to keep your professional network and your friends separate. So in the courtroom you are professionals, outside the courtroom you are friends. So that's how there are sometimes interesting experiences you have. uh, Many times cross examinations are uh, they tempt you to become hostile, and they are some cross examining solicitors or the advocates are expert in cross examination of experts. So in many cases I have experienced that they hire a specialist of cross examination who is specialized in examining the experts. So may it be a postmortem, may it be forensic document examination, may it be fingerprinting. These advocates are expert in examining, cross-examining the experts. So you get to learn a lot how they catch you in words, how they put things in your mouth and make you speak something which you didn't intend to speak. So you need to be very careful, and you learn a lot in the court which you have not learned in your school, in your college. So there's a lot of learning for a self-employed person, and there is a lot of exposure for a self-employed person. So networking skills are very important. You need to create your own network if you want to get continuous flow of business for yourself. You have to have a good network. You have to be connected to people who can refer you well. You need to create an image in the market. That's very important, which is not at all required when you are employed in maybe a government job or in a private job. The company takes care of the marketing, the company takes care of its own reputation. You just have to deliver your expertise there. But when you are running a business, you need to take care of your standing. You need to be on the panels. You continuously need to be updated with what is happening. You need to know the who's who in the industry, the bar council and all. You have to have good connects. You need to know about the case. It's not just like there are two signatures, you just have to compare and give an opinion. You need to know the background, why this case has come, what is the status of this case. The very interesting things that unfold. Sometimes there are cases where the person has made a signature, his own signature, which is done in a different way, and then the person claims that it's not my signature. So sometimes there are odd situations where your client is the culprit, but you like the person who's going to pay you is actually the person who's doing the forgery, and the person wants you to give an opinion that this is a genuine signature. So you need to be strong there. You have to see that the person pays you, at the same time you don't give a wrong remark or a wrong report. So you need to clarify that whatever may be the outcome of the report and the investigation, you'll have to pay for it. You have to go by that. I'm not going to make changes in my opinion, whatever, even if you ask me to do that. You need to take this in writing, because the cross examiners are very, very brutal and cruel when it comes to cross examination. I have faced one cross examination which went on for 3 days, 3 continuous days, and one advocate was appointed as a controller, um, as a person who would look after the procedure, and the cross examination went on for 3 days. The cross examining advocate had got one forensic document examiner who was a senior CID, ex CID person sitting besides him. He used to speak something after every answer. He used to speak something in his ears, and they used to ask the next question. So it's very grilling experience. You need to be knowing everything in and out. You need to know what you have said in your report, and you should not agree to anything that you have not said. You need to be very careful, and you need to know that such things might come towards you. So very interesting experience you get to have when you are having your own business, creating people under you, like when it comes to moving from self-employment to entrepreneurship or business, is putting your credibility at risk. Like when I hire somebody and that person goes to the industry, goes to the court as a expert and testify the documents, or testify about the forgery or about the genuineness of the document, then my credibility, my company's credibility is at risk. So developing people is very important. Unless you trust people, unless you develop people, you cannot work, where especially in this industry where your credentials, your credibility is very important. Working with the right people is very important. Just because somebody is doing good business, you cannot shake hands with them. You need to know whether there is good integrity with that person, whether the person has similar principles like you. Only then you can work. Developing your team is very important. Having a lean organization is very important. When you're thinking of starting your own business, hiring people, being an entrepreneur, you should not be spending too much of money without earning a lot of money. So it's a good idea to get into entrepreneurship model or a business model where you implement a system and you hire people to work for you at a stage where you have so much of work that you cannot handle it by yourself. At that time you should hire people and you start giving away that work to people and make people do the work that you would have done for yourself. In that way you can grow, you can have your branches, you can have your franchises. I work in a franchisee model, so we have franchises in Mumbai, we have franchises in Surat. That's how we work. And we also have some opportunities for freshers, like interns and entry level forensic examiners. We have some opportunities. We also have good opportunities for content writers related to forensics. We keep having those opportunities and we keep posting about that on our website and on our social media. We keep hiring people. We work as a lean organization. We don't hire for a long time. We hire services of freelancers whenever required. So that is a lean way of working. At present, what I am working on as a organization, or from the entrepreneurship point of view, is we are working on artificial intelligence, where a software is being developed. I'm working with a company of one of my good friends, Mandar, whose company name is Acme IT Solutions. It's in Nasik, and he is developing software. We are working on it together, where they are working on artificial intelligence and machine learning, where handwriting samples can be scanned and the software itself can compare or understand the formations and traits, the overall formations in the writing, and be able to compare two documents. So it's at a very basic level, but this is a an area where you can say that we are into entrepreneurship. Till here what you see is my self-employment, where I am working for myself. That is self-employment part. It's not about business. But when would business come? When we provide franchises, when we have branches, when we employ people. So that part of my business is, you can say, is is entrepreneurship, or it is actual business, where it can run by itself. I need not be there. So that part is entrepreneurship in the forensic field, where we are developing softwares which can run by themselves. People can take it as it's a SaaS model, where software as a service, where people can get their documents scanned and verified by themselves to some extent. They can get the traits, or understand the formations in the handwriting and the signature by scanning the documents for themselves, where not even an examiner is involved. So we are working on such models, which is a big risk. It might be a $1 million concept, or it might just fail. So that is the risk involved in a business. So where there is no risk, there is no entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship and risk goes hand in hand. So when you are solving a problem which is not solved by anyone earlier, that is entrepreneurship. Or else it's just a business. Like if you start a shop, okay, if you start a grocery shop just like any other shop that we have been seeing for last hundreds of years, it's not entrepreneurship. It's just a small self-employment or a small business which cannot be considered as a entrepreneurial startup. An entrepreneurial startup is something where you are trying to solve a problem which has not been solved earlier, and you have a intelligent solution where you can generate a lot of money and people will happily pay for the solution or the value that you are giving to the industry. So that's a entrepreneurship, and you have a lot of scope in forensics for entrepreneurship. There have been startups related to forensics, not many in India, but in the US you have a lot of forensic entrepreneurship startups that are coming up. You can think of forensics in the IT industry. You have lot of scope for self-employment and entrepreneurship in forensics. In the I would say accounting, financial accounting forensics and cyber forensics, you have lot of opportunity. Forensic document examination, it's a little classical industry, I would say, but there are still lot of opportunities for self-employed people, and you can still get into this if you have good although cash knowledge, attitude, skills and habits. If you have the right knowledge, attitude, skills and habits, you can get into self-employment, you can get into entrepreneurship in forensics too. Forensics, starting a small business in forensics is not very difficult. Just look at what your college is procuring, like all the UV lights and the different lights, the chemicals, and if you start trading those, you are into a business of forensics. So starting a trading business is not very big entrepreneurial startup, but you can get into a business. You can just look at what are the forensic labs procuring and consuming on a day-to-day basis. You can provide those. It can just be like providing the glass apparatus or the consumable things, the chemicals that are required in the forensic labs. If you start trading that, procuring it from somewhere and selling it to these labs, you have already started a forensic business. So a business in the forensic industry. So it is as simple as that, and it can be as complicated as you can make it. So I think that's it from my side about forensics, a little bit of forensics, a little more about employment, employability, self-employment and business. So I'll stop here. Thank you for giving me that opportunity, and I would especially like to thank Dr. Rajesh Kumar sir for considering me as a speaker for this interesting topic of entrepreneurship. Over to you, Kedar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir, for enlightening your words. Sir, we have few questions from our participant. Can we take those?
Yes, sure. I'll try to answer some.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Our first question is, you talk about the many skills of self-employment, people and entrepreneur. Can everyone achieve that?
See, skills can be acquired. Skills can be acquired. Knowledge can be acquired. Attitude need to be developed, and habits need to be developed. So knowledge and skills you can acquire from your colleges, from being in the industry, but the attitude that you have and the habits you have need to be acquired by you by hard working on yourself. Nobody can give it to you. So developing your emotional intelligence, being humble, developing your network, being interested in people, being interested in the financials, learning these things is a habit that you need to have for yourself. So if you can acquire those habits, if you can implement those habits and put a discipline to yourself, yes, everybody can get into self-employment. It's a choice, as I said, Kedar. It's a choice between whether you have a high IQ and have high hard skills, you can get into employment. But if you feel that you have that burning desire that I want to work for myself and I have some dream for myself, I want to earn a lot of money and I want to have the returns for the efforts that I am putting, you must acquire these knowledge, attitude, skills and habits so that you will be successful as self-employed person.
Yes, thank you, sir. Our next question is what is the things that our entrepreneurs should know in the field of forensic science without any experience of work? As we know, we any recruitment until date. So, what kind?
Yeah. So, if I have understood well, the question is about not having any experience and getting into entrepreneurship. How can we solve that problem? So this is a chicken and egg problem. Like unless you have a work experience, you don't get work, and unless you have work, you don't get work experience. So this is a chicken and egg problem, and you need to be Abhimanyu to solve that Chakravyu. So somewhere you have to be very intelligent, somewhere you need your connects, somewhere you need some humility, you need to approach people, get that first opportunity. That's everywhere. Like for an entrepreneur, getting the first assignment is a challenge. The moment you get the first assignment, you have to be at your best, to do your best, put all your efforts, complete that assignment so well that you can market yourself, showing that you have some experience. Doing some internship somewhere is a good idea. Working with some organization, working with some lab for some time, for 6 months, 9 months, 1 year is a good idea, because although we don't have strict or clear guidelines for an expert, we generally follow the guidelines by the American law, and it says that you need to have at least 1 year's experience working under somebody, some expert who's an established expert. So it's a good idea to work for a year in some organization, a reputed organization which is recognized by not necessarily by the government, but at least by the court of law. They recognize that organization, they recognize that person as an expert. The best thing would be like working as an intern in some government lab for at least 6 months at a time. You can do 3 months or 2 months assignments temporarily. There are a lot of job opportunities with the government which are temporary assignments. If you do those, you can establish yourself and then get into private practice. But if you directly think to get into private practice, like what I did, you'll have to face a lot of struggle. That's the reason why I completed my postgraduate diploma in forensic science and related laws from Government Institute of Forensic Science, Aurangabad. Actually, I had been in practice for at least 10 years before I did my PG diploma. So, and in those days, it was okay to not have a qualification of forensics. My background was, I was masters in chemistry from Pune University, the Department of Chemistry of Pune University. So that helped me a bit, but nowadays that won't work. You need to have proper qualification and work experience, and it's a good idea to work with some lab that will give you a good start. If you start by yourself, you have to be very smart. You have to have good connects, you have to have good network with advocates and the bar council, so that you get your first opportunity, and then make the best use of that opportunity. So you need to build your own market by building your own credibility. So that's how I think, if I've understood the question, I've tried to answer it.
Yes.
Yes, Kedar.
Our next question is, nowadays many insurance companies and employee are employing forensic expert. Do you think that it will be the good idea to be start a forensic consultant in insurance company?
Yes, there are. This is quite a organized sector. It's not that unorganized. It's quite a organized sector where they have fraud prevention units, as I mentioned. In insurance, there are a lot of cases. Like I have been on the panel of Bajaj Allianz for a long time. for their forgery investigation. So they have fraud prevention units. All insurance companies have their fraud prevention units. They have their investigation units, and they give a lot of work outside. They outsource this work, or they hire experts. They have people on their panels for investigations, because they cannot take a decision by themselves. They need a third party opinion about, even if they can see that it is a forgery, they need somebody to testify and say that yes, this is a forgery. So they need a lot of experts. It's a good idea to start totally a business which would you can start have a startup which can cater only to this kind of problem. So you can think of doing that. Like I would be happy to see some of our alumni or some of our students starting a venture where they have an association and they cater to providing these services to an insurance companies. Like even if you are hired by 2 or 3 companies, you have a lot of work to do. You will be doing work equal to any government lab. That amount of work is there. So a nice question, and I feel that you are already seeing opportunities in the industry.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Kedar.
Yes, sir. How important to have advanced instrumentation facilities to start a private forensic consultants?
Okay, so when you say instrumentation, what things come to your mind? A VSC machine, or maybe a comparator or something? It's going to cost you a fortune. Like you'll have to invest some lakhs of rupees. So as of now in India, if you see, we don't have more than 30 VSC machines installed everywhere, and most of them are in the government labs or in the government educational institutes, like the institutes for forensic sciences, like one of them being GIFSA. We have VSC and all the instruments there. Looking at the labs which have been established quite earlier, the instruments are quite old. I think people don't have, or the labs don't have, like what we have at GIFSA. We have VSC 6000. I suppose if you, the last that I had seen was 6000. So I don't think there are such machines anywhere else. In Nasik, we have 3 or 4 machines which are in the currency note press, the India Security Press. There are some at I think at Faridabad they have some. Maybe 1 or 2 in the educational institutes here and there. So requiring the requirement for that is less. Like see, how many cases are you going to get which requires instrumentation? You can just say no to those cases, because it's not necessary that you handle all the cases. And as I said, if you have good relations with the labs, you can have a joint, you can have an association with your labs. Like you can get support from the government agencies also. You can get support from the government educational institutes or private agencies who have those instruments. You can take help of them, or you can just forward those cases to these institutes, get help from them, and use the instrumentation. So alliances is the key word here. You have to have alliances. You cannot keep spending so much of money. Like if you think that unless I have a VSC machine, I cannot start my forensic venture, don't do that. Start with a small, you can just, I started with a magnifying lens. So you don't need instrumentation. As of now, I don't have many instruments. I have a homemade do-it-yourself kind of UV instrument I have made. So just put in some UV light, put some sources to get a basic idea of whether you find some evidences or no. So that can help you. In investigations, as I said, in investigations, no one is going to ask you what kind of instrumentation you use to arrive at the conclusion. But in the labs, but in the courts, if you say that I used Corel or Photoshop to see the samples, the next question you can expect is it a editing software? And the moment you say yes, you are gone. Your report is going to be in the dustbin. So sometimes you need softwares. Sometimes you need to be careful that you should not use something which is not approved in the courts. So there you need to spend something. You have a lot of softwares which are open source softwares, especially for those people who are looking for starting something in in cyber forensics, you can use a lot of open source softwares which are available for your cloning and for your investigations. You need to follow all the protocols, and you don't need to spend a lot on softwares also in cyber forensics. But when you get cases, I remember in one case what we had done is we didn't have a software which was required for one kind of mobile forensics case that we had. We said that if you want to give us that this case, we said the client that this is the amount that we need to spend on the software first. We'll be buying the software. So we don't have the software. We'll buy the software only for your case. If you are interested to work on it, we will do that. We will give you the report, but we'll have to spend from our pocket. We don't have the software. If you feel that the case is important enough for you and you are willing to pay for the software, the whole software, the license key for it, we will go ahead. And for our surprise, the client said yes. Okay, so it was like we got a software and we worked not only on one case, then we could work on the other cases also. That's the entrepreneurial skill that you need to have. बोलने में क्या जाता है ये, हाँ बोलने में क्या जाता है ये आपको दिमाग में रखना है कि बोल के देखो, अगर मिल गया तो मिल गया opportunity. You might get an opportunity. Who knows?
Yes.
The client might feel that it is worth spending on. Okay, so that's how it is.
Sir, as you mentioned, you are dealing with various cases. Have you someone consulted you more specialized area like DNA examination or identification?
There are requirements like this, but then that's not my specialization. So I generally refer them to some labs who do that, or I just deny doing that because that's not my forte, that's not my area. Like carbon dating, I cannot do carbon dating. I cannot identify the age of a document. I cannot identify the composition of the ink or so. Sometimes people are not willing to spend on that, but they know from internet, they come to know that yes, we can do some DNA testing on that. So I ask them whether you know how much money would be involved in that, what is the accuracy of that, will that stand in the court? Because you might feel that okay, you can prove something using some technology, but the cross-examiner will just put some evidences in front of the court that it will be refuted. Okay, so there are cases where people approach you for something which is not your forte. You need to be focused. You cannot buy a instrument just because you got one case. Okay, so that can be a mistake that you might do. So you need to do market analysis. You need to know कि market में क्या बिकता है. It's why I'm calling it as a market is because it's a market. You have opportunities. You get some business opportunities. If that is going to come to you once in a year, like somebody approaches you once in a year with a case for DNA profiling, and that is not your forte, it's better that you refer it to somebody else. So that keeps happening. We refer it to somebody else.
Yes. Sir, do you think the government policies can become hurdles for new startup or internals? And what can some of them the hurdles? And so, if yes, so how could we overcome them?
Okay, so government can always be looked upon as a hurdle. You will always that's the easiest excuse that we can have, that government is responsible for I not having a career. Okay, so you have to overcome that. You should not complain about the government policies. You have to find out a way. Actually, whenever there is a government policy, you have an opportunity for entrepreneurship. So the moment the government makes some rule, something is becoming stricter, there is some policy, there are some cyber policies, you have opportunities for entrepreneurship. So look at what gap is created because of the policy. Okay, so if the government brings in some policy, there is an opportunity that is being created. So try to identify that gap that is being created because of the government policy. Instead of looking at government policies as hurdles, look at government policies as an opportunity. So if government says that from today onwards, every establishment is supposed to have a investigation expert in-house. Like there was a rule, like banks used to have an external forensic expert. So one expert was hired by 100 branches of a bank. Now when the government policy says that everybody should have their own forensic examiner or an expert, in-house, then that is an opportunity. So if government says that you need to install CCTV cameras in every establishment, you should not cry that the government is creating a lot of hurdles for doing business. You should look at this as an opportunity. You can provide softwares for CCTV cameras. You can start importing CCTV cameras and selling CCTV cameras. You should provide forensic services. Like, there are so many CCTV cameras, there is nobody to investigate the DRVs. You have the hard disk there. After the crime has happened, people don't know what to do with the hard disk. They don't know how to gather the evidence. They don't know what to take to the court. They just in one case, this person just bought 2 hard disks from a private company and said that I have the hard disk. So there was no protocol followed. They don't know how to carry the physical evidence. There's no protocol followed. The hard disk was just copied from one place to the other. So there are requirements for forensic examiners. You have to keep your eyes and ears open and create a market for yourself. Wherever there is a complaint that there is no market for us, there is no future for us, you have a lot of unexplored market there. My feeling is that our forensic graduates and postgraduates rely a lot on government jobs. Don't rely on government jobs a lot. Look for opportunities where you can start a very small business. Initially, you will see openings further. You can wherever there is a gap, you can fill it up and earn a lot of money there.
Yes. Sir, as you have explained about graphology, so can you explain, please, the self-empowerment person needs some emotional intelligence?
Yeah. Unfortunately, graphology and forensics doesn't go well hand in hand. So you might see a lot of documents and books saying that a graphologist cannot be a forensic document examiner. So yes, that is true. Like, a graphologist who does not have any background of or has not studied forensics is not eligible to be a forensic document examiner. That is true, because these are two different things. Like, if you are studying the stars and the stars, the moon, and the planets for astronomy, and studying the stars, the moon, and the planets for astrology. These are two different things. You are studying the same things, okay? But astrology and astronomy, although they are studying the same thing, the purpose is different. Okay, these are two different sciences. Okay, similarly, graphology is looking at the handwriting to understand personality, whereas forensic document examination is looking at the handwriting to establish the genuineness or the fake document. So these are two different things. But yes, graphology comes into picture in a better way when it is about investigations. You need to understand people's mindset, when you need to understand the way a person would think. So in investigative psychology, this is used more. As I said, in investigations, you don't need to prove how you derived at it. So graphology is used more in investigations than in forensics. So in many times when a graphologist mentions that he is a graphologist and appears in the court as a forensic document examiner, he is not entertained. He has to prove that he has a experience as a forensic examiner other than graphology. So, but as a graphologist, you get to understand the emotional aspect of a person, as the question is posed about emotional quotient and handwriting. So graphology is about understanding a person's behavior, his beliefs from the writings. So if one has to say that there is no relation between handwriting and thinking and beliefs or behavior, there should not be any reason why your handwriting is always leftward slanted or rightward slanted, or why you always have a small writing or a large writing. And if you say that नहीं वो तो ऐसे ही है, यानी कुछ लोग तो बड़ा ही लिखते हैं और कुछ लोग तो छोटा ही लिखते हैं, उसको कुछ रीज़न नहीं है. So you cannot have something which has no reason. Okay, so there has to be a reason for the consistency in your writing and the choice that you have made for yourself. So some people have chosen to write in a small size, some people have chosen to write disconnected, some people have chosen to write slanting rightwards, some people have chosen to have more pressure, some people have chosen for themselves to have a lot of space between the words. So this is a choice that you are making. And if you say that your choices have no meaning, it's just like that. Rather, I would say that people who say that graphology is not a science need to defend this stand that why it's not a science, because you're saying that there's no logic behind what you're doing. Okay. Whereas a graphologist says that there is a logic behind why you have a small writing or a large writing. Coming to what science means, I would not speak a lot on that, because that would be very academic thing. But anything that can be falsified is a science. Okay, that's a
Yes.
statement which is very profound and which is very important. Anything that can be falsified is a science. It may not be immediately falsified, or it may not be proven immediately, but it should have the possibility of being able to falsify. So if I say that a writing which is leftward slanted shows that the person is an introvert, this relation can be falsified. You can prove that this is false. Okay, but
Yes.
if you cannot prove that something is false, then it is not science. It can be anything other than science. Okay, so if I say that God exists, I cannot prove it, or you cannot disprove it. So it's not science. It is something beyond science, or it is something other than science. So anything that can be falsified is a science. And so if I say that there's a relation between a formation and a behavior, it can be falsified. Okay, if it's not falsified yet, or if had been falsified many times, that's a different story. Whether it has been established or not established, it's a different story. But since it is falsifiable, it's a science. And you can use handwriting analysis to understand criminal mindedness. You can because see, as you know, in forensics, like when two things come in contact with each other, they exchange something. Okay, so Locard's principle, they exchange something. Okay, there's an exchange of some particles when two things collide. Like when two cars collide, there is an exchange of paint from one to other. When you are walking on the floor, there is an exchange of particles, and there is a footprint created. You can have fingerprints, footprints, lip prints, ear prints, all these things. So the Locard's principle, as it works in the other forensics,
Yes.
when there is a conflict in your mind, like if I ask you to write something about an incident that has happened, like say for example, you have committed a crime, if you have killed somebody. Okay, and I ask you to write about what you have been doing when this crime happened. Like this crime happened between 8 and 8:30. So what you have been doing on that day between 8 to 8:30, and you are writing something. Okay, you are giving me in writing, and you are saying something else. Okay, you are saying that I was sleeping in my bed, I was watching TV, I was watching a movie, I had chips, and I was talking to my friend on phone. Actually, you are not doing all these things. You are committing that crime there. Okay, you are looking for a knife, you are stabbing that person, you are disposing of the body, you are committing the crime, but you are saying something else. There is a conflict between your conscious and subconscious mind. Okay, your subconscious mind knows what you are doing, and your conscious mind is trying to portray that you are doing something else. This is going to reflect not in the content of the writing, but the formations of the writing. So there would be more pauses, there would be tremors, there would be scribbling, there would be something that would happen in the writing, like what you do in a lie detector. uh, because you are communicating, and there is a pattern which is broken when you are telling a lie. Similarly, when you are writing a lie, and you are communicating through handwriting, you are going to show some patterns, and you are going to break some regular patterns of your writing. And so that can be used as a means to understand whether you are involved in a crime or no. So that's a short background I can give you about how graphology can be used in forensics.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Sir, our next question is in a field like forensic, when someone opens a new company, it takes time to them to get recognized. So what should be done in case to get an more popularity?
Okay, so you don't need to be popular, you need to be, as you said, recognized. So recognition and popularity are two different things. You can be very popular without having any recognition, and you can have a lot of recognition without being very popular. So recognition is very important, as you rightly said. When you start a new business, you have a blank slate, you need recognition. So you need to be affiliated with some organizations. You need to regularly participate in conferences, like the conference you are having a online conference today. You need to attend such conferences. I used to attend any conference. You just go to Google, write forensic conference, whatever conference it is, go attend it, meet people. So that's how you update yourself, gather a lot of certificates for yourself, certificate of participation, present some research papers somewhere. uh, if not research papers, at least go and meet people who have presented some research paper, talk to the best people in your industry. um, there are a lot of forensic trainings happening for the police department, for the government officers. You as private agencies cannot participate in that, but whenever there are training programs being organized which are open for the private agencies also, you should take those trainings, participate in those trainings, attend a lot of conferences, get affiliated to certifying agencies. There are few agencies who certify you, so you need to be certified. There is an American board for forensic examiners. So I think ACFE, you can see the site ACFE. You can just get affiliated there. You can give some exams so that you get recognition. These recognitions are very important. If you know that there are some companies called as the big four companies, the big four will work with you only if you have a international certification. So you need those international certifications so that you can work with these companies like KPMG, Ernst and Young, Deloitte. So PwC, they will work with, they will entertain you only if you are internationally certified. But if you are thinking of working in Maharashtra, your certification has to be from the government of Maharashtra. Like many times you need to defend that. Now the cross examiners can put up any logic, like they would say that, okay, you come from the Gujarat University with a certification from Gujarat, will that be valid in Maharashtra? So actually it has to be valid everywhere, but then they can create any sort of logic. So you need to have those affiliations with all these people. There is also something called as peer review. So peer review is very important. Like if you are very new in the industry, you are giving your first report or you are giving new reports, you can take a peer review. Like you can approach your let's say you can approach your professors and show the report to your professor and say that, at least give a peer review that, okay, you have gone through this and you feel that this is a right this has been studied in the right way. That is a peer review. So you can work with the peer review. You can go to a third party saying that, okay, you also give an opinion, I'll share the fees with you. Like if you are getting an X amount, you get 1/3 of it, you share 2/3 of it with an expert, saying that you give a peer review about my report. See, you are not forwarding that case to a senior. You create the report, go to a senior saying that I want a peer review about the report that I have created. Of course, the senior would always say that, why don't you give that to me? I will give the report. So you always have to say that, okay, sir, this is my report. You just give a peer review that this person has done this rightly, and give your stamp and sign. So that helps you. You may shell out more money for that initially. Okay, you give 2/3 of the fees that you are getting to the person who is reviewing it, but that creates your market, that establishes you, so you get a recognition. Okay, so these are some tricks and techniques that you can use to get established in the market. Yes, Kedar.
Yes, sir. As this was our last question from our participant, I think it's time to conclude our session. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your deep knowledge about the entrepreneurship versus job in forensics. And your session was full of enthusiasm and the valuable knowledge. It will be our great pleasure if we listen you again in our future events. Lastly, I would also like to express my deep gratitude to all the participants, and hereby I declare that the session has to become end. The tomorrow's workshop is another venue for aim to have a words with Dr. Ranjit Singh, Managing Director, SIFS India, Forensic Science, New Delhi, on the topic need and role of forensic entrepreneur in current scenario. I hope you will find this workshop on entrepreneurship in forensic entrepreneurship, opportunities and challenges, useful and informative. We look forward for your feedback. The feedback link is posted in our YouTube channel, in comment box, also in posted our Telegram channel. Thank you.